Losing my religion is kind of a mistake. The fact that it became what it became is still puzzling to all of us.
That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion.
I don't mind being famous. It's not that bad.
I guess you could deal with that. I would like to be in your position, sir. Welcome to Cordkillers!
I'd welcome you to Cordkillers, but Brian already did. This is the show about watching the stuff you love, when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Barrett.
Hey, I'm Brian Brushwood, and that is a new show based on the hit podcast Sound Exploder, I believe?
Song Exploder.
Song Exploder. I've only listened to a couple of episodes, but they were very, very good, where they take down the elements. I remember listening to the one all about the theme for...
Bob's Burgers?
No, the one where the president is bad. He
2020.
He got canceled.
House of Cards.
There you go, House of Cards, where they broke down how they
The one with the
actually
snapping. The one with the 30 minutes of snap.
No, it's great. It's a great podcast, and I expect it to be a great show, but not as great as our fabulous
October 2nd
guest
on Netflix.
Oh, on Netflix. Thank you so much for joining us, Lamarr Wilson.
Hey, great to be here. I'm also on Netflix. I'm not. I'm lying, but I wish I was.
You're watching Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much being on it.
I'm watching it right now. Actually, not paying attention to the show at all. What's going on?
How is Song Exploder? Oh, wait, it's not out till October 2nd. That's right. You can't be watching it yet. Hey, everybody. I have an idea.
What?
Let's get to our primary target. A long-anticipated day in the annals of Cordkillers has finally arrived. Viacom CBS announced the new name of CBS All Access. The streaming service in early 2021 will be called Paramount Plus.
This is
that's
shockingly...
Crickets.
No. This is shockingly close to what we felt like HBO Max should have been called. Because because it's all the Warner Brothers catalog or whatever. We thought it should be Warner Plus, something that's not tied down with the baggage of an existing network or whatever. Like they're doing kind of in an alternate reality exactly what we suggested, right?
It's the easy name for many reasons. A, everything's called Plus, so that's familiar. Also, they were already using it in several international markets. So they're like, oh, this is great. We'll turn those into the international Paramount Plus because they're already called Paramount Plus. And then we'll turn CBS All Access domestically in the US and Canada into Paramount Plus. And, that's that. It does feel like, even though it's the easy call, probably the right call.
Well, and also like, does anybody have any bad memories of the Paramount logo? Like, I remember it being the beginning.
That's all I remember.
Is that with the horse?
Yeah.
Was that TriStar? That's TriStar.
No. Yeah. So Paramount Plus would be the Paramount logo to me is Indiana Jones and Coming to America. Those are the two big ones.
The end of every Star Trek too.
Yes.
Like even on CBS All Access, it ends with the Paramount logo.
Yeah. No, I think this is a smart move, and we knew they had to do something. It's not as coy or as clever as our suggestion of Tiffany, but I think it's if you're going to build on a network, at least this is territory that already is generally well beloved and kind of means nothing until now.
Yeah, I'm really glad they didn't go with Viacom CBS. I know that's the parent company, but Viacom Plus was a thought I had, or they had to get rid of that CBS though. And I hate to say this because they do have some newer things on there, but it is known as a older demographic, and they're trying to get a younger demographic. Even though Hot in Cleveland is an amazing show. It's about old ladies. Right. I love it. So. You need to watch that show. Betty White. Man.
I was cheering for them to go the NBC route and name it The Eye. Just name it after their logo. They didn't do that. There were some clever things out there, like trying to take Viacom and CBS and make Vision or something. Those are probably hard to trademark, even if they are cool. And Paramount Plus is a little boring, but you know what it is. I guess if anything, it makes it sound more movie oriented than television oriented.
It does make it
I agree
feel
with that.
bigger, and like even geographically, that image of the giant mountain feels bigger than an eye. An eye is quite literally the smallest thing that you perceive the world through, versus a mountain is the thing that you want to see with your eye.
I got a question. Do you think HBO, let's just say because of the whole pandemic thing, they still have time? Is there still a window where they can? Oops, we were just beta testing it. Let's go with the Warner Plus thing. It's too late. Okay.
No,
I think that window closed when they shut down HBO Now, HBO Go, all the HBO West, HBO North, HBO South.
I mean, I'm not saying they'll never change the name of
HBO
it.
Spring Break. That was a real
now
mistake.
They have to roll out for a while longer under this name. They invested a lot in the marketing and the brand awareness and all that.
HBO Lite.
They had to
HBO
spend a
decaf,
lot of time teaching people that HBO Signature and HBO Max were different, so
HBO Green.
The other thing, if you want to do a little Kremlinology on this, I think it's interesting that Viacom and CBS merge. Viacom seems to be running the show here. We got the Viacom name. They took away the CBS name, right? Like, I feel like they're also pushing out a lot of the CBS Interactive stuff. They sold off CNET.
Well, who bought who? Who? I didn't know.
It was a
they
merger.
sold off CBS.
It was a
CNET,
merger.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Sumner Redstone, rest in peace, and his daughter and their National Amusements held both Viacom and CBS. So they just smushed them back together again.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was equal. It was equal the whole time. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I think the smart part about this move is just that they figured out what is an if you're going to do brand extension, which I don't recommend, I don't think it's a good idea, but if you are going to do it, at least extend a brand that that either has a meaning that is universally beloved or is kind of a blank slate. And I think they got as close to that as they're going to get. The only way to do it better would be to call it Tiffany, like we talked about, but maybe there's problems with that.
The singer,
but the the singer or the store, but I think Paramount is it's a fine rebrand name. I applaud their decision as a fictitious shareholder.
It sounds grand, like has a grand feeling to it. That I think would make it stand out. Whereas Peacock, I mean, and I'm wearing a Peacock hat to be disclosure, but I'm not getting paid. But it just I'm not saying it's wimpy, but a Peacock I could probably kick around. Not that I would.
I mean,
Peter.
CBS All Access sounds like you're hanging out backstage at The Price is Right, whereas Paramount sounds like you just summited Mount Everest.
Well, and you both hit on something that I think is valuable here, and I'm sure this was part of the plan, which is the knock on CBS All Access has been, why are you making me pay for Star Trek? Right? That has been one of the biggest things we've heard, and the argument was, well, you're not just paying for Star Trek. They're going to keep adding shows. You're paying for a streaming service, but the perception has been, I get CBS already. Why are you making me pay for a version of it? Why are you putting some pieces of CBS over here? Paramount Plus suddenly changes the perception of like, this is a brand new thing. It's big, it's full of movies, and we're adding tons of content to it. It's Paramount Plus. It's a whole new situation. Don't compare it to CBS because it's not that, even though it's really not that different underneath the hood than CBS All Access.
But think about it. Like you've never gotten a Paramount experience. Maybe you've seen Paramount Entertainment on free television, but in general, you associate it with paying a ticket, grabbing your popcorn, sitting down, having your mind blown. Something good's about to happen. It's Paramount. And so, it totally makes sense.
Bryce, I think you just wrote it in our chat room. Paramount King's Dominion popped right to my mind.
Theme park in Virginia, in Central Virginia. Rest in peace. No longer Paramount. Now it's all Peanuts stuff.
Yeah.
Snoopy.
So they are adding more content to this as they go along. There's going to be a Making of the Godfather series, a spy show from Yellowstone's Taylor Sheridan. Those are just some originals that they're announcing while they had everybody's ear. They were coming even if they hadn't changed the name, but they're also, as we've talked about before, adding in a bunch of content from the Viacom catalog like MTV, Nickelodeon, etc. This, when it launches next year, is going to feel like, oh, this belongs alongside Peacock and HBO Max and Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You know what else belongs right there besides them, Brian?
Okay, you and me and Lamarr Wilson. And Bryce Castillo, all of us in our own Mount Rushmore next
doing
to
a
Paramount.
Pyramid, cheerleader style.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do a pyramid.
Don't put me at the
people.
top,
We'll figure
though.
it out.
No, we
Don't
got
put me
the
at
bottom
top
down
of
here,
it.
Lamar.
But look,
it's like a
if,
ziggurat.
if you want to finance this scientific expedition, then head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. That is where you can keep us loud, live, and independent. Just $1 an episode. That's all we're asking. You get extra bonus stuff. You get stuff early. You get the after talk segments. And most importantly, you get the smug satisfaction of knowing that you're keeping us alive. Thank you to all of our 1,000 plus bosses over at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
Let's talk about how to
A lot
watch.
of bosses.
So many.
Too many cooks?
Folks, peace in our time. When last we met, a war was brewing between Roku and NBC Universal. Late last week, NBC threw down the gauntlet and said, listen, we're not going to take it anymore. Roku said, oh, I know our agreement to carry the rest of your apps besides Peacock has ended, but we'll just give you an extension. You can keep those apps there under the old terms while we figure out this Peacock stuff. And NBC said, no, we're not going to take advantage of that extension. This weekend, we will pull all of our TV Everywhere powered apps. Bravo, Sci-Fi, NBC Sports, they'll all disappear from Roku this weekend because we don't have a deal and we don't think it's fair to keep them on there. And without agreeing to an extension, we don't have the right to keep them on there. So they're going away. They said that Friday. They said that Thursday. Friday, there was a deal. Comcast and Roku have come to an agreement on advertising and revenue sharing. The NBC apps did not go away from Roku. And in fact, today, Monday, as we record this, Peacock is available on the Roku platform, Brian. You can just download it to your heart. Well, you just need to download it once and then you can watch it.
Man, negotiations are weird. Like, I almost want to have one right now. Lamarr, I want to give you $100.
Yes.
Will you take it?
Yes, under one condition.
What?
That it has to be in all ones.
Ugh.
Or I'm walking.
Okay. You know what? Ones are hard to come by. I'll give you 10 of them.
I think I'm just going to take my ball and go home because I want what I want.
Negotiations.
Sorry.
What can you do?
Yeah, that's it.
We should teach
That's
a class.
I'm not sure what the analog here is, but I really enjoyed that.
You know what was crazy about this negotiation is like between Thursday and Friday, between that deal, Roku had the audacity, because it's 40 plus apps that NBC was going to pull. And they're going like, well, if they want to do that, fine. That represents an insignificant amount of our traffic. And then, do what you got to do. And then like hours later, okay, we have a deal. So it's like, it wasn't insignificant at all. They just had to pull that, but NBC had the cards. Now, let's do Amazon next. Let's do HBO next. Let's get this over with. I'm tired of talking about it.
Peacock is still not available on Fire TV. That is correct.
Yep.
Amazon's Fire TV, and of course HBO Max not available on either one. Although HBO is available on both of them, but HBO Max is not on Roku or Fire TV. So this is just one of those four pieces that has been solved. Honestly, I think we'll look back on this and go, oh, right, I almost forgot that was a thing. It feels really important, especially if you're using a Roku and want to watch one of these apps. It feels super important right now. But this is the precedent setting time, right? You get these kinds of negotiations at the beginning when whatever deal you end up agreeing to is probably going to stick and it's going to set the table for future negotiations. So you want to get the best deal you can out of the gate. And you get these again at the end. That's why we keep seeing these carriage disputes with cable, because as things die, everybody's scrambling to, eke out whatever cents they can from the declining revenue stream. So this is an indication to me that cord cutting is just taking off now. We got to get this stuff out of the way. It's unpleasant. But once these deals are set, we probably won't see these kind of disputes too much more often. Maybe a few more over the next 1 or 2 years. And then we'll get into cruising altitude until cord cutting finally dies and gets replaced by something else in the future.
I suppose if there's good news here, it's that our favorite over-the-top services are now having the type of arguments that normally adults have, and they're acting like adults, and that they're yelling at each other and throwing boxed wine at each other. Speaking of which, what is the number one thing on Peacock that Roku people are excited about right now? Do we have we determined the must-have Peacock anything?
I mean, Brave New World is the top one, right?
Yeah.
Is the Office is not there yet. That's next year, right?
Yeah, it's going to make its way there, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
30 Rock.
You got a lot of sports. There's a bunch of sports on there.
Okay.
I'd be interested, Peacock fans. Those of you who just want to write in and tell us you don't like Peacock, you're welcome to do that. That's not really going to help.
We won't read those.
Cordkillers@gmail.com for the people who are like, I love Peacock and I want it because X. So we're very interested in that.
And keep in mind, we're very optimistic about what Peacock has to offer. Even though the Olympics got pushed or whatever, like I think Merrill Barr came in like a wrecking ball with his excitement for how like this is how you launch a brand new service. I think there's tremendous potential there. But somebody asked me like, what am I supposed to like on Peacock? And I was like, it's gonna be good. I remember that much.
I mean, the answer is free, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that you can watch on free. There's a lot of library content on there. I was watching a little bit of Frasier. A lot of that holds up. I finished watching Brave New World. That show is pretty good. There's people in the chat are saying they made a Psych sort of finale or a reunion movie. AP Bio is coming there. So it'll be a lot of like Saturday Night Live will probably be there because I know that they have as one of their live channels. And I think free is a big component of that. Using Peacock free and watching a Verizon ad every so often is actually not a terrible experience, especially compared to watching cable where there are a million ads.
So
although I went to watch a Brave New World episode and ran into the paywall and was like, yeah, I guess I'm not that into Brave New World.
Yeah, the multi-tier stuff is kind of strange, but
so
it's weird.
What you're saying is
one of the coolest things.
It's going to be great.
One of the coolest things they have, I think Netflix is starting to roll out, is like I think you mentioned it, Bright. These live curated kind of channels where it's like the best of SNL or like or the NBC News that comes out daily. They have you can just go in and watch a continual stream of different kind of content. And I think that's helpful for a lot of people because it kind of harkens back to that old, got the remote and you're just switching and trying to see what's on. I know Netflix is testing something like that where it's just a stream of different episodes of different shows that
the Netflix thing is very rumory, and we don't know they're really going to do it or not. Peacock has it; they're doing it right now. I just want to make that clear to the people out there that if you're like, well, I don't see this on Netflix, of course you won't. This is like in their lab, but you will see it on Peacock. You can try it right now, and they're adding new channels all the time. They've got clips from The Office, Parks and Rec. They've got channels based on a lot of their properties, like Bravo. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rotten Tomatoes show up there. So keep looking at Peacock because I think they're going to keep adding a bunch of those new ones.
Yeah, it's really a great business model. I really like that.
All right, let's talk about what to watch.
I'm wearing a hat.
In Under Surveillance.
Not like real estate. It's all about location.
Under Surveillance.
Okay, before we get into Under Surveillance, I do have to say, twice Lamarr has disclosed that he's not being paid to wear the Peacock hat, and I've not disclosed that my wife works for NBC Universal. So let me just get that out there.
Oh, okay. I know it just felt so obvious because I'm sitting there praising it, and I got the hat.
I wasn't trying to sneak around. But yeah, she works for Rotten Tomatoes, which is owned by NBC. Let's talk about what to watch. The Mandalorian trailer is out. It describes battles between the Mandalorian and, quote, an order of sorcerers known as Jedi. Season 2 is set for October 30th.
Number one, I mean, I suppose this was inevitable. We have to get back to familiar tropes of the Star Wars universe. I'm not exactly thrilled about it. I was even less thrilled to read all the gossipy stuff where I guess Pedro Pascal like quit halfway through because he wanted more scenes of him without the mask on. I don't know if you guys read that. So
no, I didn't read that. Is it reliable though?
I don't know, but if I were Pedro Pascal, I would definitely complain about wearing a mask the entire time I was working on there.
Yeah, he would fit right in lots of places these days.
It's a beautiful face. It should be revealed.
You're upset about this?
No. Well, I'm upset that they're was internal conflict in general, but again, that's what Hollywood is made of. So
also, don't read the rumors. That's what I would say if you want to enjoy The Mandalorian. Also, I'm hopeful that an order of sorcerers known as Jedi is a throwaway. Is a like, we're not going to go meet the Jedi. We can't. We have to go find the child's progeny, and we had to know about the Jedi in order to do that.
In the trailer, they show what appears to be Jedi and lots of X-wings and that stuff. Yeah. So I suspect we're going to get a lot of.
But there are none in the time period in which this takes place.
Yeah, what is the timeline?
So it has to be a flashback.
I forget exactly where
this takes place after Return of the Jedi.
Place. Okay. Like what, 10 years or something? 20 years or something?
I don't know what the years are off the top of my head.
Oh, though. Return of the Jedi. I'm thinking of the last movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi.
That kid that they show when they say sorcerer is known as Jedi and then the kid vanishes. That seems like that could be one of Luke Skywalker's progeny or whatever. Yeah.
I really doubt they go that way. I think it's a flashback.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They have so much credit. I'm gonna go all in. I'm not trying to brew cynicism or skepticism. I'm just
Okay. It's now you can piss all over another trailer. WandaVision she showed up during the Emmys. Full trailer is out, and Disney said it will finally premiere soon.
I loved how bizarre this was. How surreal. Like how out of the box, like it ended, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I didn't mean that in a bad way. I meant like, "What are you doing?" Like it's
I must
really
know.
Bizarre.
Yeah. I'm more disappointed. I mean, okay, I'm not disappointed in the trailer. I think it's great.
You're disappointed in my opinion of the trailer.
Absolutely, you suck. No, I'm disappointed in like the timing. I guess in pre-COVID, when Disney Plus arrived last year, there was no Marvel show, and this was touted as really, really heavily as being the first one. So, I was hoping this was going to be earlier. I'm glad it's now, but it's like finally, but we still don't have a date. So when does soon mean?
Well, I mean, the date is clearly 1955 in the era of black and white television,
but also the 60s and 70s,
right?
Will we see Ralph Crandon? Because I hope so.
I'm with you, Lamarr, that I'm frustrated, but I also know why. Everything got disrupted. It probably fits in with a bunch of movies, and the movies aren't coming out on the same schedule. So it kind of threw their whole timeline into disarray. I am very curious if this is just taking place inside the mind of Vision and at what point. And that's why it's showing up as TV shows, because it's Wanda's only way into him somehow to communicate with them. I don't know.
I think
that's the angle. Yeah.
I took it more as a nod to the multiverse, that like they're setting up sort of the craziness that will lead to the Doctor Strange sequel.
And she's navigating the multiverse, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe quite literally, going through whether it's a drug or a fever dream or a magical television box that shows alternate realities or whatever. They take us through the multiverse and all the different realities.
I mean, they say he's dead. I wonder how in the trailer.
I wonder how long they hook us in until they tell us that. When they wait to the last episode to say, hey, this is what happened. This is what's really, I don't want that. I kind of want to know.
He was dead the whole time.
Yeah. Don't be like Lost.
So CBS Sunday Night Movies will return October 4th for 6 more installments with movies from Paramount. Big Brother will move to Monday. It has been on Sunday, so it will move to Monday. Sunday Night at the Movies came back. The sort of 70s and 80s stalwart returned in the spring to fill a bunch of holes in the schedule caused by COVID disruption. It's basically returning for the same reason in the fall. Scripted series are targeting a November return for most networks, including CBS. So this kind of helps bridge the gap. The movies they will show will be Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Old School, and Clueless, right after people come back to school, followed by a Halloween-timed showing of Scream. And the list also includes Star Trek Beyond and Coming to America.
So the cynic in me thinks this is a terrible idea, but the father in me thinks it's brilliant, because I have spent more time gathering the family for classic movies over the last 6 months than in my entire lifetime beforehand. And the kids in general seem to be into the idea of like, hey, what are good movies? We don't know. Take us on a tour. So I think this is a smart move on their part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch CBS, but I like the idea. They got to do something, and why not go into the catalog? I thought it should be maybe a double feature every night. Make it a couple movies. I don't know. They got to fill in a lot of holes there.
Thing is, there's so many places to watch movies, and more people are subscribing to them. And so having CBS
Without
pick a movie to
commercials,
show
right?
you at a particular time with commercials, hard sell. But you know, you got a gap in your schedule. This may be better than other options that you could put on. If there are still people out there that just turn on the TV and see what's on.
Are these all Paramount
I
movies?
guarantee they'll have.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I guarantee they'll have commercials to like, hey, Paramount Plus, if you want to see this without commercials, you know that's.
See, but it's not called Paramount Plus yet.
Okay,
so
they'll say CBS
that is
All
interesting.
Access. Yeah.
ABC canceled Stumptown, starring Kobe Smulders. It had already been renewed. And this is not unusual right now. A lot of renewals are getting reassessed because of COVID disruptions, because of budgets, because of changes in production schedules and how that affects the ability and logistics to do stuff. Netflix previously pulled the plug on both The Society and I Am Not Okay With This back in August. While the true TV series I'm Sorry was scrapped despite its renewal, Amazon pulled the plug on Cortez y Moctezuma, a miniseries 2 weeks ago, because production was unable to resume due to COVID-19. So as much as production is going back into full swing, it's not going back into full swing at the same capacity or with the same conditions for success. And so a lot of shows that thought they were golden are not anymore.
Do you think, Lamarr, that some part of this is because we've gotten as a society just a little more cozy with the idea that something can go away for quote unquote a while and still come back? You know, like even like I'm Sorry is so good that I refuse to believe that it's totally over. You know, I feel like it'll come back at some point in some form or what have you.
That's a really good question. No, I think we are conditioned. I mean, we deal with that with what's that Netflix one with the kids, Stranger Things, and we dealt with that with all these HBO shows. I can't think of the name of the darn show. It was that unmemorable season 8. What was it?
What, Arrested Development?
Game of Thrones?
the dragons, yeah.
There you go.
The
dragons. The dragons.
The show that must not be named. Game of Thrones. Wow.
No, I agree with you. We are definitely used to it. So it seems weird. Like, why not just delay it? But then you have actors, I don't know what the contracts are, who you have to like keep on retainer then. And they may not be able to do other work.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the problem comes in. You know, it's almost not fair to them unless you're going to pay them for their time.
Well, and they may need to be told flat out per the contract, like, hey, you either have a job or you don't. And so you either, are renewed or you're not. So, yeah.
It's not impossible for renewals to be pulled for various reasons, but it is pretty unusual to see this many at once. And it just has to do with, it just points at the fact that things became a lot more complicated. Schedules of actors are not the same. And actors are like, well, I can't do it now because this movie got delayed to here and that takes priority and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a mess. I'm surprised we're not seeing even more of these. Maybe we will. DC Universe is getting out of the original content business. This isn't too much of a surprise after the launch of HBO Max. Titans and Harley Quinn will both move to HBO Max for their next seasons, along with Doom Patrol. Harley Quinn was also renewed for a third season, and that will premiere on HBO Max. DC Universe will rebrand as DC Universe Infinite because it will have less things. I don't know. DC Universe Infinite will focus exclusively on the fan community and be a digital comics hub starting January 21st, 2021.
Yeah, the Infinite, I would imagine, is fueled entirely by the digital comics hub because all of a sudden you're unlocking the entire
Infinite
back catalog
Crisis
of the world. Yeah.
Just like Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Marvel has Unlimited. My only issue with this, we all saw it coming, right? I mean, I'm a DC Universe fan. We all saw the transition happening. It was just the way they worded the press release because I read the whole thing, and it's like, instead of just acknowledging, hey, this didn't really work out, we got this great thing that's happening for the same price. You're gonna lose shows, and it was just the wording of it was so positive when something negative was happening, and I was like, this is the biggest PR spin ever. I'm applauding it.
I disagree. It's a not insignificant thing to add, hopefully the entire DC Comics back catalog to.
But it already had.
But you're still removing something.
Oh, it already had.
It already had the comics. That was already part of it.
I'm wrong. Then forget everything I said. I got nothing.
I mean, they might be adding more comics because it didn't have all of them.
But
you're right.
Infinity -1 is still infinity. So there. That's math.
There you go. That's the DC mathematics we were all waiting for. A few other notes. CBS All Access will adapt the true crime podcast Happy Face into a series. HBO Max has renewed Raised by Wolves for season 2. Disney has delayed the premiere of Falcon and the Winter Soldier to sometime in 2021. No firm date on that. And the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance won an Emmy, and Netflix will not bring it back for another season. So one season of Dark Crystal is all you get.
They're getting harsh and tight on their budget, on their purse strings. Well,
they're losing all these exclusives over to these streaming services now. I mean, it has to affect bottom line somewhere.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're getting harsh on the purse strings. I think they're just getting harsh on return. They're spending just as much or more money in aggregate. They're just being pickier about what they spend it on, if that makes any sense.
I suppose to rephrase, what they're doing is a more traditional media play of either you're a home run or you don't exist. That's it.
Yeah, no, I'll buy that with Netflix's money. That makes sense to me. All right. Let's take a look at what we've had our eyes on. We share with you what we have been watching. Starting with you, Lamarr, what have you been filling your eyeballs with?
So a few things real quick. I'm a Married with Children lover, so I've just been watching a bunch of old episodes on Hulu. But
that's your comfort watch?
Because it is comforting. Yes, I love Al Bundy. But because I know every episode, almost line by line, just watched over the years, I have noticed that they've added some deleted scenes in each of the episodes where I could tell where like a commercial break would happen or lines that weren't there before. And I wonder if there's some lost thing that, I mean, maybe they're going from an archive that I wasn't familiar with, but Hulu just didn't have that, where there was just a few extra lines in almost all of the episodes that are in there. So I find it fascinating. I feel like I'm watching, bonus scenes right now. So I'm enjoying that.
I wonder if those are international editions where the commercial load was lower. And so they were able to
have more minutes in there. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know, but
I find that fascinating. Yeah. I'm still working on Lost in Space season 2 on Netflix. And it's a great show. I just need to finish it. And I did mention this pre-show, but Star Trek: The Captain's Summit, I watched on YouTube. It's a documentary that came out 2009 with all the captains, Picard and Shatner, and then Riker and Spock, Leonard Nimoy, and it was hosted by Whoopi Goldberg. Fascinating raw conversation between them. Watch it because it's not really a spoiler. I guess it's been out for years now that Shatner never watched an episode of The Next Generation, a full episode. He told Patrick Stewart that to his face, and he was shocked. So, I enjoyed it. It was a great talk.
I can't think of a more William Shatner thing to do than to refuse.
Also, I'm not even convinced it's true. I could totally see him just decide, it'll be funny. I'll say I've never even watched it. He seemed
genuine, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
What about you, Brian?
Dude, I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music. Have you seen it yet? Have we already talked about it, Tom?
Yes, I've seen it. I enjoyed it.
It delivered on everything I wanted from a Bill and Ted sequel. It was adorable. It introduced a new twist on a character archetype that I had never seen before. I'm thinking of a certain good dancer. It was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of joy watching it with my kids, and highly recommended. And I would say go ahead and spend the $5 extra to buy it instead of rent it. It's, you'll probably end up watching it again.
It's worth having in your library.
Yeah.
I wonder if this had not been made available on demand at the same time it hit theaters, if it would have been received as well. I think a lot of people were positive about it because they're like, oh, this was just a comfortable watch on my couch over the weekend during lockdown. Versus,
I think you're
man,
right.
I can't believe I spent $18 to drag myself to the movies to see that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know that it gave me every single thing I wanted, and I enjoyed it very, very much.
I did not enjoy what I watched this weekend.
Uh-oh.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, you're doing that thing where you have to watch movies that are terrible.
So my wife, as I mentioned earlier, works for Rotten Tomatoes. Her team is producing a great podcast called Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong, which I think is a fantastic premise. They find movies where the audience score and the critics score are very different, and they do a podcast about why and who's right. Are the critics right? Are the audience right?
That's fascinating.
They have multiple people on the show to argue for the various sides. And so if you've been wondering, like, man, why has Tom been watching such weird movies like Space Jam and Spider-Man 3? Well, that's why. And so, I'm not saying an upcoming episode is about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it totally is. And we watched it this weekend. And I was very interested in, like, okay, I remembered not liking it, but I wonder if I'm right. And I was.
Because I don't remember this movie that well. Was this the one where he was passing the baton to Shia
LaBeouf, yeah.
Shia was his son.
That's the
Actual
one.
cannibal.
Oh,
Shia
okay.
LaBeouf,
That's why. That's why I don't remember it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What I had forgot is there's some really great sections that are very Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's great to see Harrison Ford back as Indy. There's a few sections I'm like, oh, this feels like Raiders. Feels like Indy. There just aren't enough of them. The writing, it just tried to do way too many different things, and the ending is awful. The ending is just, in my opinion, very, 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 very silly. And unnecessary. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Stick around for the Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong podcast to find out who liked it. They booked someone who liked it, and we'll defend it. So that's going to be
hey, remember the ants, the CG ants? Those ants, man.
Yes.
They were
and the monkeys, the swinging monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember this movie at all.
That's probably
I got to see it now.
Yeah.
That happens with the human mind and trauma, Lamarr.
That's right. You can go see a therapist who can get you to recover these memories.
I'm like, oh no.
So wipe that out of my mind, will you, Bryce? What are you on the lookout for?
Hey, we got a recommendation from Scott about a new Apple TV Plus revival. Scott writes, hello, Tom, Brian, and Bryce. Apple TV just released the first 3 episodes of a documentary series called Long Way Up with Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman. The show follows these two as they ride up from the southern tip of South America to Los Angeles on electric motorcycles. I would also recommend the other 2 motorcycle documentary series that Boorman and McGregor made, Long Way Round and Long Way Down, but as of right now, they're not available for streaming. Thank you, Scott. I saw a commercial for this over the weekend and thought it was kind of interesting, and then I had missed the beginning of it and was surprised to see the Apple TV Plus logo at the end of this. I also did not know that this was like the 3rd time of them doing that, but I think it looks like a fun travel kind of challenge show. They're going from town to town and charging their bikes and exploring South and Central America. It looks pretty cool. Have any of you seen any of these Long Way series?
No. But I would love to do this, and my wife would never in a million years let me. This is, maybe if I had a whole cast and crew following me with cameras and guns.
Well, you can live vicariously through Ewan McGregor in the meantime.
And the shtick is, if you're like, wait a minute, I've seen this done before. The shtick is it's electric motorcycles, right? It's not just the journey from one end of the continent to the other. They're doing it with electric motorcycles. And can it be done? Well, apparently, yes.
Yeah.
It can.
So
Are they on Route 66? Are they? They have to kind of be, right?
It's CACA.
Not in South America, I imagine.
Is that
tip of South America, so I don't think it goes all the way down there, but thank you again, Scott, for this. There are 3 episodes this right now on Apple TV Plus. New episodes are coming out on Fridays. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for this segment of the show, email us cordkillers@gmail.com.
Folks, Brian and I like to mention some of the other stuff we're doing here, and I don't mention very often Daily Tech News Show. There's a lot of overlap. We do cover some of the cord cutting stuff on Daily Tech News Show. And if you are at all confused by all this TikTok Oracle stuff going on, today is the day to listen to DTNS. We have a show on Monday, September 21st, that I spent 8.5 minutes going through clearly. Here's what we actually know. Here's why people saying contradicting things can both be true. So check that out, dailytechnewsshow.com.
Yeah. And right now, we're apparently on our second week in between servers being swapped over for Doghouse Systems. If you go to doghousesystems.com/v/rogue, who knows whether or not you'll be able to buy a computer. But these are the folks who have provided all the fine systems that power everything here at our studios. Use promo code ROGUE, that's ROGUE, when you do get around to writing. In fact, write them an email. Say, I want to give credit.
That might actually be the most effective way to do it right now as of September 21st.
No, they've had some hiccups over there.
They're transitioning some data.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines.
The TV show airing on the CBC in Canada and Pop TV here in the US, Schitt's Creek, won all the Emmys. But Quibi won too. For #Free Rayshawn, a police drama from executive producer Antoine Fuqua, Lawrence Fishburne and Jasmine Cephas Jones won the acting award in the Emmy short form category. So Lawrence Fishburne, Jasmine Cephas Jones won the acting awards in the Emmy short form category for Quibi's Free Rayshawn. Netflix ended its domination though. HBO, 30 wins, 11 primetime Emmys. Netflix ended with 21 wins and no primetime Emmys. Schitt's Creek Eugene Levy thanked Netflix in part since carrying old episodes sparked interest in the series. I take it back. Netflix did get a couple of primetime Emmys. Julia Garner won for Ozark and Maria Schrader won for Unorthodox. So two primetime Emmys. Apple TV Plus won one Emmy, and it was a primetime Emmy for Billy Crudup's role on The Morning Show. Hulu also got one, and it was a primetime one for Uzo Aduba's role in the FX on Hulu show Mrs. America. And Disney Plus got lots of nominations. And it's an honor for Disney Plus just to be nominated.
That's what they say. Ben Mullen from the Wall Street Journal tweeted Monday, quote, Quibi, the streaming service founded by Jeffrey Katzenberg, is exploring strategic options, including a possible sale, sources say. Story coming to WSJ.com. Other options besides the sale would include trying to raise more funding or launching an IPO. Quibi, we hardly knew ye.
Quibi is not sold yet. I see lots of, people dancing on it's yet to be dug grave.
I really enjoyed your tweet response of like, don't start divvying up Grandpa's stuff yet. He still has a heartbeat.
That's pretty much how I feel about it. It's like, hold on, let's just wait till they sell it. It's very likely that that's what this means. Strategic. If you're not familiar, strategic options almost always means sale. It's not impossible that this could be a roundabout way to get some more funding that they can't get otherwise. I can't imagine that any bank is going to advise Quibi like the solution to your problems is a stock offering. IPO this baby right now.
And weirdly, like everybody who made everything for Quibi, part of the reason they went to Quibi is because they were bizarrely told that they could continue to own all of their IPs. So everybody just got free pilots from Quibi. Why would anybody who made anything for Quibi care whether or not Quibi survives?
I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, so that's why they're there.
Yes.
I thought it was just cash.
They're all friends. And
if you're buying Quibi, you're buying it for, I guess, those relationships, right? And hoping like, oh, we can bring them into the tent over here, right? Or for the tech. If you're looking at Turnstile and like, hey, that solves a problem for this thing we've been developing. I mean, that seems to be the most likely scenario.
So here's the question. What is it that Quibi has to sell? They have a name that nobody respects, a distribution platform.
Well, no, I just told you the two things they have to sell.
Okay.
The relationships with the content creators and the tech. That's it.
Okay. That doesn't seem like it was worth as much as they paid.
You're like, but I was hoping there was more, Tom.
Yeah, I really was. I'm sorry.
Like I may be missing something. I don't know.
No, you're 100% right. You literally said the sum total of what they have to sell, and I said, Yeah, but what do they have to sell?
But that doesn't seem worth a lot, Tom. And you'd be right.
That is such an internet answer. It's like, I just said it. How would you leave a comment on that? Didn't you not hear me?
But I thought you said there was something worthy of selling. Right.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do. New research from eMarketer estimates more than 6 million U.S. households will drop pay TV this year, bringing the total number of cord cutter households to 31.2 million. That's a real number. eMarketer estimates that number will reach 46.6 million by 2024. Pay TV currently sits at 77.6 million households, which is down 7.5% on the year, its biggest drop ever.
It's really weird how little satisfaction I get out of seeing these numbers nowadays.
Isn't it interesting? Like, this would have been our primary target at one point. And today it's like, the numbers keep going where they've been going.
Yeah, well, and it's not even like I've stopped caring how, if they're, not to be tribalistic, but how we won and they're losing. It's like I'm just not even interested anymore. But of course, it's the theme of our show to talk about exactly these things.
Are they really losing, especially when a lot of them are the parent companies anyway of these services?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I feel like they kind of got over. Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
The losing is the division that does the pay TV service, right? The losing isn't the parent company that's putting out a Disney Plus or an HBO Max or a Peacock. I guess that's why I still care is as that 31.2 million gets bigger and bigger, the marketplace of these streaming services will get more defined and better to navigate. And the complaints about like, man, I can't even find what service has what thing, that will start to shake out, because it's like, well, wait, if we have 50 million people watching this stuff, maybe we should figure out a better way for them to access our things. So, and these carriage disputes will shake out because it won't be worth it to show down anymore. So you want to see that number rise because it will start to materially improve the offerings, I think.
In a weird way, I feel like the cable companies won in that they ran out the clock while they were able to all become dumb pipes. Like they effectively faked their way quarter by quarter.
You keep saying they want to be dumb pipes, and I always quibble with you on that.
No. Because I don't think they want to be, but I think they at least have figured out how to continue to get $100 a month out of all of us.
I think they did run out the clock. You're absolutely right. And they're figuring out ways to get $100 out of us for sure. They're also figuring out how to get $12 a month out of us, or $9.99 a month out of us. You know, that too.
Tubi announced that it now has 33 million monthly active users in August, up 65% over 2019. The company also announced the launch of Tubi en Español, a Spanish language offering within the Tubi app on Roku devices in the U.S.
Tubi owned by Fox. Don't forget the Fox that is not part of Disney. So yeah, good news for Fox.
Real Fox.
Yeah, should we call them real?
We'll call them purebred.
Fox Plus.
Purebred Fox.
Yeah.
Not that mutt over at Disney. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Comcast reported Peacock signups rose 50% over the last 6 weeks to 15 million. It's also the second most popular app on Comcast's own Xfinity boxes. They're touting this because the number one is Netflix. And even Comcast is like, we weren't going to compete with Netflix, but hey, we're number two.
I'm still bullish. I think they're going to do just fine. I think that it's going to take a while to roll out some of the surprise hits and all that stuff. I think the fundamentals are strong. Disney Plus has cast. Help me.
Tatiana Maslany.
There you go. Thank you. From Orphan Black as She-Hulk in its upcoming series. She-Hulk will tell the story of Jennifer Walters, the cousin of Bruce Banner, who inherits his Hulk powers after she receives a blood transfusion from him. One of my favorite comic books, being a teenager. Now, I'm not going to say that there's a direct linkage between being 17 years old and her being buxom and beautiful and powerful and strong and self-aware and willing to do things like tear open a panel of the comic to walk across an ad to go straight to the next plot points because she didn't have time for all the conventional storytelling beats. But I won't not say that either. I'm very excited about this show. I'm very excited about this selection for the actor as well.
Tatiana is a freaking amazing actress.
Yes.
Her range is it's something to behold. So she can act in anything for me.
Yeah, I agree. But if you never saw her in Orphan Black, you're missing out.
Such a
She
good
did an
series,
amazing job.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the dispatches from the front. We did a segment on the show last week where Shannon Morse shared her experience on setting up a Plex server with Synology. And Andrew Bradley wrote, "You guys didn't mention the set-top box that could act as a Plex server and player. The glorious but often overlooked NVIDIA Shield, the best set-top box of all time. It's the only box that will directly play all your Blu-rays and UHDs. You don't need to transcode into a lower quality."
And the best part is the Shield will occasionally look right out of the comic book, tear open a frame, walk across an ad, and get right to the next plot point. It's so self-aware.
And Andrew, I would refer you to my setup to your email where I said, we brought Shannon on to talk about her setup, which sadly didn't involve an NVIDIA Shield TV. But you know what? That's why we take emails. So all of you who love the NVIDIA Shield TV can complain that we didn't mention the NVIDIA Shield TV in a segment not about the NVIDIA Shield TV. And then you will hear us say NVIDIA Shield TV so many times that you'll be very happy.
Speaking of the NVIDIA Shield TV, Jeremy Reynolds writes, "I will add my love for Plex. I've been a Plex Pass subscriber for years. I do run it on a PC. He doesn't say it, but I assume that means not a Shield TV.
I guess not, but he didn't say. We'll put Jeremy in touch with Andrew to find out.
Yes, with mini drives rather than an NAS. One feature you missed when talking about it is that we'll get special features for movies like subtitles, posters, etc. Also cool is the option to play trailers before your movie, either general trailers or ones for movies you already have in your Plex. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. And then Dean in Portland wrote, "In the past, movies on occasion would use the excuse of a bad scene or movie that they were rushed and had to get the movie out the door and into theaters." Now, this is the premise for the rest of his email. I want to say, I don't think any actual movie director or producer has used that excuse. I could be wrong. Maybe some have. I've heard a lot of,
not in a PR release, but certainly in like the director's commentary or behind the scenes interviews or whatever. Yeah.
I don't think usually the official line is, this was bad because we rushed it. But what I will say is a lot of us say that. Like, well, it's very clear they rushed it. And he said in the director's commentary that they didn't have as much time. So that's obviously why they did it. Anyway, back to Dean, who says, "With the pandemic and theaters closed for months, can we expect perfection from the films coming out over the next year? They clearly can't use that excuse anymore. There are lots of films that are in the can just sitting there. I would like to hear your thoughts. Also, with screenwriters laid off for months, can we expect great original stories in films and shows for the next few years? If a writer had all the time in the world to write their masterpiece, will they do it?"
I'm sorry, I just got this call from Hollywood. They're watching right now. They say, yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I'll tell them. They say, ha, 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 ha. Okay, thank you very much, Hollywood.
I really want to put Dean in a room with a few screenwriters and directors and editors and have him say that to their face.
And the reason is even if, let's say, all movie theaters go away, Christmas movies still have to come out before Christmas. Summer movies still have to come out in the summer. And some people will start them not being able to complete them on time, and they'll have to make shortcuts. And, so nothing changes. Nothing changes at all.
Also, and a lot of them are writing from their kitchen with the kids running around. So,
yeah, right. Like, if anything, now they have to do it with kids screaming in their ears.
I'll add two more things to that. One is nothing is ever done. Nothing is ever perfect. At some point, you have to ship it. At some point, you have to be like, you know what, we're putting it out there. And so I don't think any artist worth his salt has ever felt that they really had perfected anything before they put it out. Also, lots of artists have thought that they put out something really good that you thought was crap. And they disagree with you. And so, there's not just one opinion on all this stuff. So I don't know. This just feels like taking potshots at people. I don't really like that kind of criticism. I don't think you could have made it perfect and you didn't because you're lazy is not is how the industry works.
Very condescending.
No. I'm going to defend. I think that Dean just is unfamiliar with the process. It's a miracle that anything ever comes out ever. And like that. I didn't know that until I was 39 years old and we did Hacking the System. And I saw how precarious every step of the process is and how many things get halfway to being done and then just vanish. It's a miracle anything happens ever, full stop. And then beyond that, if you're not in the biz, then you might not know that. So that's what I would say, Dean, is it's a miracle anything happens ever, period.
There you go. Well said. Well said. Thank you, Brian. And thank you, Dean, for writing in. And it's a miracle that we had Lamarr Wilson on the show.
Huzzah!
Hey, I see what you did there.
Lamarr, where can people see so much more of your wonderful stuff?
I am on the YouTubes officially, youtube.com/Lamarr Wilson, where I do a lot of videos in pop culture and lifestyle. As you see on the screen, I've been doing a lot of gaming type stuff.
Are you creeping up on 2 million subscribers?
I am. I've been creeping for a while, but I'm creeping there. Yeah,
that's great.
It's happening, and what's weird, as well as it looks like I'm doing on YouTube, I don't promote it at all, but my TikTok is doing amazing because I'm
not gonna lie. We've had a good run on TikTok, and I got my breath is a little bit held right now. I was like, I would like to continue to do stuff on TikTok.
I've been trying to perfect the 15-second unboxing. Because I put them all in reels too, so I just keep it at 15 seconds. People are loving it, and it's a challenge for me. It's like, how can I convey my story in 15 seconds? Of this beginning to end of this unboxing or whatever it is. And yeah, they're doing crazy good over there. So I'm not promoting it because I want to do it natively, but I'm liking it as an adult.
Right on.
I kind of found my way. I kind of found my way as an adult there. So I was like, yeah.
Look at that. See, that's cool. If what's the easy way for people to find all the stuff that you do?
At Lamarr Wilson everywhere. It's the simplest way.
2 R's in Lamarr.
Lamarr Wilson.
Yeah.
Or
there you go.
I see what you're doing. You go to lamarrwilson.com. And that is my link tree. I see what you're. Okay, that wasn't what you were doing, but
no, Lamarr. I don't remember you promoting that on DTNS.
But yeah, that's my link tree for everything. So,
go check it out. Link trees are hot right now. They're a thing.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, folks, our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/nightattack, which is also carried on diamondclub.tv, Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you again next time.
Hey, Tom Merritt.
Yes, Brian Brushwood.
Know who I love even more than my own children?
Your other children?
No, not my wife. I know what you're saying. I love our $5 patrons. These are the people that keep us loud, live, and independent. Thank you so much, $5 patrons.
You know what? I love them more than not life itself, because then I'd be dead and I couldn't appreciate them, but really, really, really close. And I'm so thankful that they are here to make this show happen.
Thank you so much to all of our $5 a month patrons. You guys are wizards. You're champions.
Thank you, everyone.
You're heroes.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.